Hi everyone, today I'll be covering how to set up custom audience segments. Custom segments is a powerful tool because it allows you to build an audience based on a user's search or browsing history. Let's check it out. Go to Tools and Settings, Audience Manager, Custom Segments. So custom segments can be built using keywords, websites, or apps, and they can be used in audience-targeted campaigns such as YouTube, Discovery, Display, or Performance Max audience signals. Let's take a look at a segment built using keywords. So with the keyword method, there are two options. The first option is people with any of these interests or purchase intentions. And the second option is people who searched for any of these terms on Google. This second option is what usually drives the best performance because it allows you to target based on search terms. A good rule of thumb is to have your audience segment mimic your search ad group structure in terms of keyword selection. The general idea is to keep your keyword selection tightly themed and relevant to the ad you plan on pairing with the custom segment. So in this example, I plugged in keywords for refrigerators with a bottom freezer. Now I can expand on this keyword list by adding in additional terms here. I can paste it in, type it in, or select if there's already keywords input here. I can select recommendations from Google. Notice how I'm only selecting keywords that match the theme of this custom segment, which is non-brand terms focused on bottom freezer refrigerators. An important thing to note is that this search term targeting only applies to audience targets for ads on Google properties. So this would apply to Discover campaigns, YouTube if it's on youtube.com. But if this audience is applied to a display campaign or a YouTube campaign that's running on Google's partner network, then these terms will be used as interest or purchase intentions. And so let's save this list and we'll dive a little bit deeper into what a interest or purchase intention setting does. So this custom segment is set to an interest or purchase intention. Now, a purchase intention segment covers a much broader audience and can include people who have not explicitly searched for the keywords on the list, but do have purchase intentions for something similar to it. So let's look what happens when we change this to the second option. The weekly impressions under the segment insights drops quite a bit because it's only considering people that have searched for this exact term, versus the purchase intention has 10 billion to 1 trillion weekly impressions potentially. And that's because it's reaching a much broader audience and reaching people that didn't explicitly search for this term. And so because the purchase intention is broader than search terms, this type of list doesn't need to be as tightly themed as the search term list for optimum results. And so an example of that is if I start adding in additional terms recommended by Google, the segment insight weekly impressions doesn't change. And so that would indicate that the audience you're trying to reach can just be reached by this one term instead of adding in additional terms like this. Now, there's no harm in adding in additional terms. And so we'll save this list. And there we have our interest target segment. Now, I have a few other segments here that I think would be of value. So one that's typically set up is a competitor segment. And this can be keywords containing competitor terms. And this is a useful option if you're trying to target competitor terms on search campaigns and it's too expensive. You can create a custom segment with those competitor terms and target ads to people that have searched for these terms, just not through the search network on YouTube, Discover campaigns. The brand custom segment becomes useful if you're trying to target people and let's say you're a reseller and you sell through different stores and maybe they haven't visited your website, but they might already be aware of your product. So this allows you to reach users that are what I call brand aware, but maybe haven't visited your website. The final setup that I want to cover is a custom segment using websites. In this example, I added URLs for appliance websites. This is another type of segment that is fairly broad compared to a search term-based audience segment. One common mistake that I want to point out is that inputting URLs for specific pages on websites, Google does not consider these page-level URLs and only factors in the top-level domain. In this example, it could potentially target all visitors to Facebook and not just the visitors to the page that I selected here. So I'm going to remove this. Now you're probably wondering, why not just group websites and search terms together? The reason is that when you create segments based on search terms, it will usually have a much smaller audience pool than an audience segment built from websites. And when it is used in a live campaign, you won't know if the results you are getting are from the website targets or the search term targets. And that makes it difficult to optimize your targeting settings. Another reason is that you can also combine segments into larger audiences using what's called a combined segment, which I will cover in another video. So that's it for today on custom segments. I hope I was able to help out. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you for your time, and please make sure to subscribe to the Next Level PPC YouTube channel.